guys, and welcome back to Tangy Tea of Life. I'm your host, Veronica. Co-host Tawan could not be with us tonight, but we have a very special guest for a very special topic tonight, guys. I have Officer Martin sitting with me with the City of Darlington Police Department. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
And guys, you know, it's so much going on around the world, not only the city of Darlington County, but there's so much going on, so much senseless violence that's going on. So I asked Officer Martin, will he come and sit down and have some tea, and let's talk about this thing to see if we can try to figure out the way to like calm things down. Because there's so much going on, and it's like it's becoming to be a real serious problem with the senseless killings. So tonight we're going to be talking about how we can resolve the problems, the issues that's going on all around us. You know, people are afraid to go out, you know, even to the gas station or to the mall, or, you know, you have to be careful. You're looking around everywhere you go because you just never know. So we're going to talk about that tonight, guys, and please join us in leaving comments and all that below. And if you have any questions for Officer Martin, and he'll be glad to answer them for you. So, Officer Martin, how long have you been in law enforcement?
I've been working for the City of Darlington for a little over 12 years. Obtained the rank of sergeant, and I enjoy it every day of my life.
That's awesome, because you guys go through so much each and every day. Like, you put your lives on the line for us each and every day. So we thank you for that.
We
thank everyone out there who would get up and put on that blue every single day and do what you do. Like, our hats go off to y'all. Thank you so much for your service.
We thank you. We don't get much that, so I thank everyone for any little appreciation we can get, you know.
Because it has gotten really tough out there for police officers over the years, like getting bad rep, as you call it, you know, because of things that went on in different parts of the world. But social media making things worse. You know, there are some bad cops out there, but you can't put that on all cops.
No.
You know, there are good police officers out there that are out there doing their jobs, protecting and serving.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But getting into this craziness that's going on, this senseless violence, what are some of the things you all are doing as police officers as far as gun control?
It's tough, but we're out there being very, very proactive. That type of approach in law enforcement is important because we're dealing with individuals in the community. You want to get out and know who you're dealing with. You know who's doing the dirt, so to speak, and you know who isn't. And those who live in our community, we want to make sure they can go safely wherever they want to go. As you stated earlier, you know, it gets to the point where individuals get nervous and don't want to go somewhere or have to always look over their shoulder where they're going. So what we can do to help that is by being as proactive as we can be, like getting out with individuals, whether it's 12 in the afternoon when it's sunny and bright outside, or 12 in the morning where it's pitch black and you really, you know, you got to use your flashlight, everything you do. But we know what we signed up for, and that's part of our job, what we have to do to help stop these individuals who are carrying guns unlawfully and lawfully, if it's lawful, they're using it against in an illegal way.
Right. And see, the thing is, I mean, how is it possible to move guns off the street? Like, you know, they're trying to push these gun laws and things like that, but is it really possible?
It's an uphill battle, I'm gonna be honest with you. Because they're manufacturing guns like you and I believe. And in South Carolina, you don't have to have a permit to obtain a gun. As long as you have a clear background, you know, you can go to any, I guess, gun shop or pawn shop, and they do run a background check, but you don't need to be have a permit rather to obtain it. You just have to be of age, 21 or over, and you can obtain a long rifle, a shotgun, handgun, anything. You know what I mean? So the guns are being manufactured on a level where it's just, you know.
That's scary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But you have to be licensed to carry. Man, you just can't
Right. You
get
cannot.
your gun and just.
No, you can't just get a gun and just carry it. You have to have a concealed weapons permit, because if you're carrying it, even though it's concealed, it's unlawful.
Mm-hmm.
And if we stop you as law enforcement officers, of course, that's against the law.
Right.
You could be an A student, all A student. You could never had a seatbelt ticket or a traffic ticket on anything.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're walking around Darlington or anywhere around here and you have a weapon on you, and it's realize you don't have a concealed permit to carry it, it's unlawful.
Right.
And it's an offense that we do arrest for and you go to jail for.
As well as you should.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think that things have gotten so bad over the years when it comes to people killing each other, like taking lives like it's nothing?
I believe a lot of that has to do with the age grouping. A lot of individuals that purchase weapons, they go hunting, rifles and things of that nature. But there are some individuals who just go to purchase for self-protection, handguns or whatever, and their children or grandchildren are getting these weapons from them. And they're carrying them on their person, deep in their pants or in the pocket or in the sock or whatever, how they wish to carry it. And that's creates a huge issue, for us in regards to trying to control that. There's also individuals that go to pawn shops or again, even gun shops to get weapons, but it's not for them. It may be in their name, but they get it for their child as a graduation gift or whatever. But realizing that their child, or not realizing, whatever, how they wish to view it, that their child may be involved in a gang activity, but they still want to get them the weapon. Because they got a bad rap or a bad record, they can't go and get it on their own.
Right.
So that's an obstacle that we deal with as well each day.
So let's say, like, I had someone to reach out to me today, stating that their nephew was getting picked on at school.
Okay.
And they feel like the teachers is not doing anything that, I guess in their eyesight, they're not doing enough that they should be doing. So what advice would you give to that person, just in case they are watching? How should he take that upon himself if the teacher's not getting involved, if the principal's not doing enough, and his nephew is constantly getting picked on? What else can he do?
Of course, I wouldn't recommend that they, Lord forbid, have a weapon or anything like that, bring a weapon involved. But those steps would probably be speak with the resource officer at the school. If he or she should be able to handle the matter, even if the principal or the teacher or whoever pushes it along, sweeps it along, whatever. Now, if that doesn't work, there's always the school district themselves or the actual police department in which the jurisdiction the school is in. Something will get done. In the end, something will get done, because the child is being victimized, bullied for whatever reason. As a parent, as am I, I have 2 children. I wouldn't want my children being picked on, going to school each day or scared to go because they're concerned that something could happen to them, being beat up or whatever when they get to the restroom when the teacher's not looking or whatever. So I do recommend they speak to the resource officer at that particular school. And if that doesn't get any headway, the parent should go to the actual district office in regards to the teachers and or the principal of that school. And as far as the resource officer, if he or she's not doing their due diligence, speak with their supervisor at the police department and get a handle on that part.
Right. Because he's saying that it's getting to the point, like, the kids, the ones that are bullying him, are they talking about how they're going to sharpen objects and, they're going to kill him, his nephew and stuff. So I'm like, that is a huge deal. You don't play with stuff like that.
No.
Especially these days. Like, you have to take everything seriously.
And those are law-related matters. So although it's okay to tell the teacher, when you said that he's being told they're sharpening things and they will kill him, that is a threat towards that individual. So that automatically involves not just the school, but that resource officer. If there is no resource officer, then the student should be allowed to reach 911 because in any way, because he or she is being victimized. And if he or she, obviously underage as far as won't be able to tell dispatch everything. If they're like, let's say 8 years old or something, then they should get that principal and or teacher to stand by and make sure that 911 is dialed, or the parent is contacted to come up there and dial on their own at the schoolhouse, literally using the cell phone, and get it handled. Because these things would lead to Columbine and things of that nature, the senseless shootings in Florida and things of that nature. When kids are being picked on and bullied, even Virginia Tech, when kids are getting picked on and bullied, it just, they hold it in so long, and then it gets to a point where they have to let it out. And I'm not saying they would necessarily have a weapon as far as a handgun or anything, but it could be a pencil, it could be a pen. You stab him some way or another, that's a weapon, and they have to have a pencil and a pen at school,
Exactly.
So that's what they would use. We don't want that for anyone.
And see, and that's the thing, a lot of kids are afraid, a lot of children that are being bullied, they are afraid to go tell someone.
They are.
Luckily, I guess this particular person went to his uncle and was telling his uncle what went on. But a lot of kids are afraid to step out and let their teacher or principal or someone know that they are being bullied, because they feel like if the other students find out, that's going to make things worse. So what would you say to a child or someone that's out there watching?
Well, what we have and how to deal with it at our schools in the city of Darlington, we have what is called a crime block. The SRO at that school, be it Darlington High School, the school where I'm at, St. John's, etc., that crime block is where a child can write a little note, fold it up, and put it in that block. That SRO has a key to that block. He or she opens up the block, checks it periodically every day, throughout the day. And when he or she obtains a note or letter, they address it accordingly. By involving the principal, assistant principal, the teacher, or whoever, and then of course get the victim, the child who's being victimized, and then eventually that bully student. So it is handled accordingly, and so I recommend using that crime block. Kids, if you're watching, please do use that crime block. No one knows, because it's anonymous. No one will know you're slipping any notes in there. Put them in there, and the resource officer at your school will be able to take care of that. That's accordingly.
Awesome. That's a really good secret kind of way of, letting the child stay anonymous.
Absolutely.
So that's really good. Okay, so as far as the percentage rate, do you know like the percentage rate of people killed by guns within Darlington County or within the state of South Carolina or around the world? Do you have like a percentage rate? Because I know it has to be crazy. Yes,
I have some paperwork here that I go over just some statistics in regards to from the CDC. First thing this morning, I obtained this data. It's factual, of course, but just listen to this here. In 2018, 391 individuals were in the state of South Carolina were either murdered by homicide or whatever have you. The next year, 2019, 458 were killed. That's plus 67.
Jeez.
It went up 67 individuals. And then here we are in 2020. We're not even through January yet, and in the state of South Carolina, we've already have accumulated 41 deaths by using weapons, homicides, by handguns, shotguns, by weapons use. Now, if you equate that per month, let's say today was the last day of the month and we had 41. You times that by 12. Within that year, by the time 2021, we will have plus 34 from 458, and we'll have 492 deaths in the state of South Carolina attributed to gun violence. That is absurd.
Yes.
That number is too high.
Too high.
It is too high.
That is crazy.
And it's tough, but we have to remain vigilant, and we have to be proactive as a whole, as law enforcement. There are troubled communities, there are good communities, but there are guns everywhere. And it's not just adults or teenagers. It can be small kids less than 10 years old, don't know how to see daddy's gun and want to play with it, and they shoot their sister or themselves, unfortunately. So the stats are real. It's there. And this is just in South Carolina as a whole. Now, can you imagine if South Carolina had the same population as New York City? You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I couldn't even imagine that. And I'm from New York, so the amount of people there, you know, I couldn't even imagine.
Right.
Couldn't even imagine.
That is crazy. So far this year, 2020, there's already been 41 deaths.
As of this morning, the data that I collected, it was 41 attributed to weapons. 41 deaths attributed to weapons.
We got to stop. We got to get rid of all these people that are getting their hands on these guns. Like, because it's out of control. But what do you think it will take to, like, put a stop to all of this?
I believe certain communities, like us here in Darlington, we have Caraway Park, Officer Caraway, who lost his life senselessly, you know, a couple years back. Things like that, having playgrounds, having something for kids to do, as opposed to nothing being around where they can just twiddle their thumbs and say, you know what, let me go get my dad's gun. Let me show you how it works. I went to the gun range, or I seen him shoot the dog, or I seen him shoot whatever, you know. If the community comes together as we should, and with law enforcement and the community as a whole, and build parks and build recreational things, you know, get basketball courts. Kids love basketball, they love football, they love baseball. Things like that will take them away from the negativity that they face each day. Understand, you know, hip hop videos have, you know, all these things with the guns and all, and they want to represent their favorite rapper or whatever have you. You know, I understand that part of it, but that's just a facade. You know what I mean? These rappers aren't out killing anybody. You know? They're just making money off of what they're doing, and the kids enjoy it.
Right.
If we can get them away from that, get parks, something recreation, and also make stricter, more importantly, make stricter gun laws in South Carolina in regards to how you obtain weapons. If it was a little more stern, I think it'll work out a lot more better.
And see, I said that in one of my other videos. You know, the kids are. It's like the kids are so lost than when we were coming up.
Oh yeah.
You know, we had so much going on. You know, even though we were outside playing until the street lights come on or whatever, but we had things to do. We could walk to the stores without
any trouble.
Yeah, we can go to friends' house and you know, play outside in the yard, and our parents wouldn't have to worry. You know, not saying that nothing or anything bad went on back in those days.
Oh, absolutely.
But it wasn't crazy like it is now. Nowhere near as crazy. So I feel like if the kids do get out more, if they do build more parks and more playgrounds and basketball courts and all, I do feel like some of the violence may slip away.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know?
Give them something constructive to do that's positive.
Right.
As opposed to just sitting there twiddling their thumbs and
playing
just
video games.
Yeah, absolutely. Because those video games, that's a great point. Those video games with the what is it?
Like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not real, you know.
Right.
And they want to do that, you know. They want to get a gun and, you know, shoot it. They don't know that, you know, there are consequences to that. You know what I mean? Consequences to that. And if you're not handling that gun or trained to handle that gun properly, you're too young or just being silly, you can hurt yourself and or others, you know.
Yeah.
Even innocently.
And see, the thing is with the people with these guns and that are going out and killing innocent people, or, you know what I'm saying? Or you got beef with somebody and you just taking their lives. The thing is, they don't, I guess they're not thinking that they're not only taking this person's life, but they're hurting the families.
Absolutely.
They're taking away a dad. They're taking away a mom. They're taking away a brother, a sister, an aunt, or uncle. So before you get out there and put a gun in your hand and take someone's life, you need to think about what you're doing. You're not only hurting that person, you're hurting an entire family, an entire community, you know? So I don't know. And it's just so sad because it's like every day now you're hearing about someone taking someone else's life.
And a lot of the time it's, again, they're just young teenagers, you know, between, say, the age of maybe 12 and 17. Excuse me. A lot of them are just getting, again, the dad's or granddad's handgun. Something that granddad may have or the parent may have for protection of the house. Lord forbid an intruder comes in or something to that effect. They're taking it and sneaking it out the house all times of the night and doing whatever with it. And the parent who knows they leave it in a shoebox or something, they're not going to check it because they're not thinking nothing like that. So I always recommend to the parents to get a lockbox, some sort of lockbox where only you have the key to, which is important.
Right.
But what happens is between the age of 12 and 17, they're into gangs. And what happens is they have to prove themselves in a certain way. So if it means taking dad's gun and robbing someone, that's not a victimless crime. You think it's okay to just walk away. I didn't shoot them, I didn't kill them, I didn't even pull the trigger. All I did was take it and point it. That's still a crime,
right.
You know what I mean? So if we can just stay on top of that, but it starts at home, lock boxes, a lot of individuals I've spoken with, they have lock boxes. Even for the shotgun, for rifles, everything, a huge safe. You put the shells for shells for handguns, and then you have little trays for shotguns or rifles. Lock them up. Don't just leave them lying around, because it gives them the opportunity to think, you know what, I'm gonna take this. And of course, dealing with gang violence between those age groups, there are a lot of subsets. And what I mean by that is, we all know about the Crips and the Bloods and things of that nature, but there are also neighborhood gang subsets. So Darlington, for instance, we may have a group of Crips, may have a group of Bloods, but we also have a group that falls under the quote-unquote 400 block, or Hartsfield or something, that had the South Side Boys or the East Park Boys or something to that effect. It's different variations. They're just subsets of one main gang group, and they still have to prove themselves. So they'll do something like rob somebody, shoot somebody, but it all falls back on them. There are no winners when it comes to that.
Right.
No winners.
So what kind of, being a mother of a teenager, what kind of signs do we as parents need to look out for when it comes to like gangs?
Verbiage is one. We know a lot of the kids like to say, bruh, no, bruh,
Yes.
I wouldn't necessarily say that in particular, but some verbiage, some good signs of clothing, gang affiliated clothing. It could be something as simple as a SpongeBob SquarePants shirt. Patrick Star, he's a star, but he has 5 points. And see, 5 points represent certain gangs, you know what I mean, in communities. So they have that on, and the shirt looks harmless, and it really does. But when you have a teenager who doesn't watch SpongeBob, who's into dating young females and being grown, wanting to be an adult, and like they all like to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he or she, for that matter, wants to wear SpongeBob SquarePants, shirts and clothing. Those are telltale signs. Houston Astros is another. Your child might not be, he or she could be a football fan.
Right.
They love the Dallas Cowboys. There's a star,
Right.
And I know you Cowboy fans there watching. I know, I know, I don't mean no harm, but it could be something just like that. They can use that as an example to try to, represent their gang affiliation. So it's just, those are some of the small things. Even eyebrow slashes.
Yeah.
If you ever you have a child who wants to get slashed in his brows, it may seem harmless. Growing up in New York, I know a lot of the kids in the neighborhood where I grew up wanted to slash their eyebrow. My mama wouldn't allow it.
Right.
But it was harmless then. But now it could be something like 3 slashes. So they represent let's say the Bloods, for instance. 1, 2, 3 slashes, RED. You see what I'm saying? Something like that, or 2 and 2.
Yeah.
So they have it's Bloods. So Crips, which is blue. BLUE.
Wow.
So it's just, those are some telltale signs you can see.
Sheesh. Now, as far as the guns, leaving the homes, say if a grandmother, grandfather, grandchild is staying with them or whatever, and they take the gun and they go out there and they do kill somebody, will the grandparents be charged for that, or how does that work?
Excuse me. Well, the grandparent necessarily wouldn't be charged for like say if the grandchild went and shot somebody, they would be charged for the shooting, whether they killed them or not. but wouldn't be charged for that. They could be held liable for possible, it may look like maybe a neglectful type situation because you showed you were negligent in locking up the firearm, knowing that you have a juvenile male or female who ended up taking the weapon, you know.
Right.
But in most cases, the crime itself will fall upon the juvenile who committed the act, you know. Again, it could be charges towards the grandparents or the parent or whoever, but in most cases, the more stern punishment will fall towards the child who committed the act.
Wow. This has been some really great information.
Oh yeah.
I'm so glad that you came and sipped on some tea with me.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good,
yeah. So, say if someone's out there watching and they're having an issue, say like the guy was talking about. I know you said that they could go to the resource officer at the school, or if they feel like the school has not done anything, if they took every step, you know, to getting the problem solved, but nothing has happened, is there a number where they can reach out? I mean, I know there's 911, but say like a number that they can feel like is personal to them, like as far as.
There are several numbers. I can grab those numbers for you. The main thing is everything, when you dial dispatch, everything's recorded. So you can dial dispatch. There's a non-emergency number in dispatch if you don't want to type 911. But there are also some numbers in regards to representing gun violence victims on gun violence. I will obtain those numbers for you in just a second. But in regards to dispatch, there's a 398 number. That is non-emergency. So although the situation is your child is okay and you want to dial dispatch to speak with them, at the end, yes, they will get an officer out there. He or she will respond to your residence, but it'll be in a non-emergency, non-threatening situation. So it's not like the gun's been used or anything to that extent. Right. That number is 398-4920. That's number to our a non-emergency number to our dispatcher, and that goes for Darlington County and Darlington City. So they can dial that, and dispatch will be glad to answer any question you may have. Just let them know who you are, what the situation is, and what's going on. And that responding officer will also be able to get you further information in regards to other numbers to help assist you with any issue you may be dealing with in regards to your child or children and dealing with weapons.
Officer Martin, thank you again. But is there any more information that you would like to share with our viewers out there?
Yes, the Darlington Police Department's number. I know we're technically closed at the office at least, but we have an emergency red box out front of the building. If you guys don't know about it, that's what it is. You see the red box. If you've ever been up there, you open it, you press the button, it dials straight to dispatch, and she will notify an officer to meet you at the department. The number to the office itself, when the office hours are open, 8:30 to 5, is 843-398-4026. That's for Darlington Police Department. The sheriff office for Darlington, for those who live in the county, is 843-398-4501. And for those that live in Hartsville City, those who live in Hartsville City, it's 843-383-3014, if I'm not mistaken. And all those are direct numbers to that office. So when you dial that number, the secretary, he or she, will answer the phone. You let them know you need to speak with a chief, assistant chief, a captain, lieutenant, an investigator, whoever you need to speak with. They will point you in that direction, or get you rather in that direction.
Great. So guys, make sure you take down those numbers if you ever, if you're in a situation or you find yourself in a situation where you need to call one of those numbers. I will have the numbers below on the screen so that you can write those numbers down. And I just want to take this time out to say that we are praying for all the families out there that have been victims of gun violence. Our hearts and prayers definitely go out to you all. I know there are families out there right now that are hurting from situations, events that just took place around our area. So we are definitely praying for you all. and just praying that God will give you strength to make it through this horrible time. And please do not take matters in your own hands. Friends out there that feel like they want to get back at the people that, you know, did the senseless violence. Just please do not take matters in your own hand. Reach out. If you have any, what do you call it? Like if you have any, not advice, any leads.
Any leads, yes, absolutely.
Yes, if you have any leads, that's good. Reach out to your local law enforcement. Yes. So once again, our hearts and prayers are going out to each and every one of you. Officer Martin, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
For coming and sitting and sipping on some
real good tea.
some tea with me tonight.
Yeah. So again, I do want to add one more. Just again, that's to second what you said about don't take in your own hands. Please don't. Mm-hmm. And I do want to add that investigations, as a law enforcement officer, I do wish they were like it was on TV. I do wish that within an hour we can find the criminal, we can lock them up, and they go to jail, and justice has been served. But in reality, it's not like that. Mm-hmm. It's not like the movies or like New York Undercover or NYPD Blue and all these shows. Law and Order is not like that. It's very tedious work. Mm-hmm. We do our due diligence, and we work very hard as law enforcement officers as a whole. So sometimes if you don't see us out there, it's not that we're not looking for the individual. It's that things get so tedious, we're trying to put together the pieces, always a puzzle. And we want to make sure every piece fits the puzzle. Right. We don't want to miss no pieces, because we want to give justice to that family, that victim's family. Right. You know, so we don't want to miss any pieces to that puzzle. Right.
And we appreciate that. Yes. And once again, we appreciate you and all the law enforcement out there for protecting and serving each and every day.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Glad to be here. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for Tangy Tea tonight. If you would like to be a guest on the show, please go to tangyteaoflife@gmail.com and leave all your information there. If you have topic suggestions, do the same thing right there at tangyteaoflife@gmail.com. Go and thumbs up on our Facebook page, and also go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel, Tangy Tea of Life. All right, guys, until the next video, we'll talk to you then. Bye.